Welcome on into the Butler Center as St. Kate's prepares to take on St. Olaf in a MIAC matchup. A steady crowd filling in here for what is the fourth home match of the season for St. Kate's. They come in at 10-7, but 0-3 in MIAC play. Every single MIAC match for them so far this year has gone to 5 sets. So they've had a lot of thrillers to this point. Tonight's broadcast is a presentation of St. Catherine University and produced by TJ Broadcast Services. Our website is tjsportsonline.net. And our broadcast tonight is brought to you in part by Goodmanson Construction, Twin Cities Orthopedics, Universal Athletics, Northfield Lines, Collins Electric, and Terra Construction. Apologies as we get a few technical difficulties sorted out. Now we're just about set for tonight's match between the Wildcats and Oles. St. Olaf enters 18-3. They, like St. Kate's, have played 3 MIAC matches so far this year, and the Oles are 1-2. They've played some really tough MIAC opponents to this point. It'll only get easier for them from here. They lost in 4 sets against St. Thomas on September 18th, and then they dropped in straight sets against Gustavus on September 26th. This past week, they faced off against number 11 Augsburg and won in 5 sets down at the Skoglund Center in Northfield. So that was their first MIAC victory, and it came against the Augies, who currently have the best ranking in the AVCA poll that they've ever seen in program history. St. Kate's on the other side, 10-7 overall, 2-1 here on their home court, 0-3 in MIAC play. Every MIAC match they've played has come down to 5 sets, and they've had the unfortunate side in every occasion. This Wildcats team started the season 8-3 through 11 games. That was their best start since 2011, but after that hot start, they've cooled down. They've dropped 6 of their last 9, and they're trying to get things back on track here in the month of October. If we take a peek at some of those recent contests for St. Kate's, they lost against the College of St. Benedict back on September 25th. That was their last home match, and they took the Bennies to 5 sets. The Bennies are now ranked number 7 in the country, so that's one of the best teams in the nation, not only the MIAC, and St. Kate's went toe-to-toe with them. Following that loss, the Wildcats swept Crown College on the 27th of September, and then they went 5 sets against Gustavus, who, as people who follow the MIAC know, they are a perennial powerhouse. Maybe this year's squad isn't as good as some of the past seasons, but it's still solid as they received votes in this past AVCA poll. 3 different MIAC teams are ranked in that poll, including the College of St. Benedict at number 7, Augsburg at number 11, and St. Thomas at 19. St. Olaf and Gustavus are just outside. They received votes. The Oles got a handful of more votes than Gustavus, 29-22. A couple reminders as we close in on tonight's match. As a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. For questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, visit their website and goodmansonconstruction.com. A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to your local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in local schools and communities. And transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lions, Inc., dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068 or visit their website, northfieldlines.com. One final huddle here for Todd Nelson and his Wildcats, getting set for their fourth MIAC match of the year and their fourth home match of the season. And it's Dig Pink Night. You can see the pink bows in many of the girls' hair as they support breast cancer awareness here in the month of October. Everyone about to rise at the Butler Center with St. Kate's clad in white, St. Olaf in black. And we'll pause quickly here for the national anthem before first serve between St. Kate's and St. Olaf. A beautiful rendition of the national anthem here in St. Paul, Minnesota. Moments away now from first serve between the Oles and Wildcats, and they'll announce the Oles starting lineup first. St. Olaf coming in at 18-3, 1-2 in MIAC play, and a couple of the stars to watch on their side include Lexi Wall, junior setter, who is currently third in all of Division III in assists per set with just over 11.2 to be precise. Last year she finished second in the country in that category with over 11.5. And she has a couple of great outside hitters and middles that she can set up. Lauren Ruers, a senior outside, was named to the AVCA Honorable Mention All-American team last year. She currently leads the team in kills, over 3%, and is second in aces. She's fifth in the MIAC in kills per set, as well as aces. Caitlin Lanham from the middle, too, is really solid, a 6'3" sophomore who's third in hitting percentage and ninth in kills per set in the MIAC. The Oles are littered across the top of these statistical rankings in the conference. For St. Kate's, Emma Nelson comes in playing really well. The senior outside now has 9 kill dig double-doubles this season. She's 12th in the MIAC in kills per set and 11th in digs per set. She's coming off a 12-kill, 24 dig performance in the loss against Gustavus on Wednesday. Erin Tebbin's been playing well, too. 7th in the MIAC in hitting percentage, up at .272, a phenomenal mark. She had 12 kills and hit .611 in that loss against the Gusties. And Erin Cutts, of course, has been tremendous as too. The junior middle had 11 kills, hit .250 in that game against Gustavus, and she's among the team leaders in aces, blocks, hitting percentage, and kills. She's 6th in the conference in hitting percentage and blocks. And here's the sportsmanship that we love to see. Pre-match, high fives across the board between the Oles and Wildcats. Thanks again for joining us for this afternoon's match. We'll remind you before first serve that Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians to the University of St. Catherine, Augsburg University, Hamline University, and others. Visit tcomn.com. Starting lineup on the St. Kate's side includes Grace Amaker, Erin Tebben, Marissa Gilbertson, Lauren Isaacson, Emma Nelson, Lauren Scarr, and then Aaron Cutts. Over on the St. Olaf side, starting lineup goes like this. Summer Reed, Lauren Ruers, Maddie Knupp, Jordan Mells, Caitlin Lanham, Emily Jarnigan, and then Lexi Wall, of course, at setter. The official tosses the ball over to the St. Kate's side. And we're all set for this MIAC bout. Wall will tee it up outside for Reed. Now another chance for the Oles. And that free ball barely got across. It's bumped right back over, overpassed by Emma Nelson, and St. Olaf has the opportunity to take care of it there. So an interesting start to this one. After a free ball hit off the tape. Reed serves for the Oles. Gilbertson to Cutts up the middle. An overpass will land out of play. Cutts packing a punch right out of the gate. And we're even at 1-1. As mentioned in the pregame, Cutts is 6th in the MIAC in hitting percentage, 7th in blocks. And she's averaging 2.5 kills per set. Morgan marks her. Great dig by Nelson in the back row. And now she'll swing from behind the 10-foot line, rolling it down the middle. Here's a chance for Knupp. Another great dig by the Wildcats, but they spill into the net. Or rather, it's a double contact. 2 touches committed by St. Kate's. And it's 2-1 Oles. Serve reception for Isaacson. Bump set from Nelson. Right back to Isaacson, who blows it off the block. It's set for Ruers on the near side, and Nelson digs it in the back row. Isaacson has to hustle to punch it over. Did a great job to do so. Hit right back to the St. Kate's side. Nelson from the back row. And she hits it through the teeth of the Ole side, and it's 2-2. Emma Nelson has to be one of the most well-rounded athletes in this conference, not only in volleyball, but just her overall athleticism, as that service error makes it 3-2. Ruers getting ready to serve, and that jump serve turns into an ace. You can see why she's second on the team in service aces this season. Came in with 35. The senior out of Sierra Madre, California, has been having a terrific year. Back set for Scarr, going cross court. Hit it too hard. 5-2 Oles, and Ruers will continue to serve. She's been named to the All-MIAC team in back-to-back seasons, and you can bet that that will happen for a third year this season. Quickly to Cutts, punched back. It was Tebben, actually, who was stuffed up the middle. Caitlin Lanham got up to deny it. 6-2 St. Olaf. And Ruers last year led the MIAC in points per set with more than 4, and she was second in kills per set at 3.5. Gilbertson to Tebben again, flicked across. A chance for Markser, who hits it off the block. Punched up by Nelson. Here's Isaacson, stuffed. Lanham there again. Isaacson will have to adjust for this roll shot and hit it too soft. A tough start for St. Kate's, and Todd Nelson calls timeout. Well, Collins Electric, a contracting firm that is experienced, progressive, responsive, competitive, safe, and on schedule. Qualities that translate into excellence and trust. Trademarks that have carried their reputation since 1928. Collins Electrical Company aspires to continually improve in all aspects of their business. And the Butler Center is filled up nicely for this Dig Pink match as the volleyball program promotes breast cancer awareness here in the month of October. And we appreciate all the fans who have shown their support by not only coming out to the Butler Center, but putting on some pink for this afternoon's match. So far, 10 attacks for the Wildcats. Only 2 have turned into kills. They have 3 errors as well, so they're hitting negative. St. Olaf doesn't have an astronomical number at this point, 143 on their side, but it's been a much cleaner effort by the Oles early on in this one. St. Olaf not ranked in the latest AVCA poll, but they're just outside the top 25. They received 29 votes in that latest poll. Gilbertson to Isaacson. Had to take something off. Now Lanham stuffed up the middle, blocked by Tebben, and that one will drop into the seats on the far side. The kill for Tebben out of the timeout ends the St. Olaf run. And now Abby Harker comes in. Harker, one of the 2 freshman setters that St. Kate's has cycled in this year. Lexi Wall, back set for Lanham on the slide, dug out by Nelson. Here's Isaacson, tough angle, too long. Lauren Isaacson has been in some tough spots here for the first 11 points. That time she had to shuffle backwards to attack. Jordan Mills serving, a 5'4" junior out of Minnetonka. Right to Isaacson. Harker floats it for Leverance, and Leverance hammers it down. Leverance is coming off a 7-kill performance, had 2 block assists in the loss against Gustavus. Isaacson serves straight down the middle. It's an overpass, and it ends up being a point for St. Kate's as Lexi Wall came into the net and tried to play a ball on the Wildcat side. Wall has to bump set this one. Reed gathers, hits it, got a piece of the tape. Pushed up and over to the Oles side, but it's a double contact. 9-5 St. Olaf. It's been tighter since Todd Nelson called the timeout at 7-2. But St. Olaf still holds a healthy advantage. Caitlin Lanham serves. Going corner to corner. Nelson attacking near side. Stuffed at the net. She'll try it again. That one's off the tape, and the Oles can't handle it. Lauren Ruers tried to bump it up down the line and couldn't keep it afloat. That's a really tough ball to play after it caroms off the top of the net. Amaker serving for St. Kate's. Lexi Wall. A high set to the outside for Reed, and the Oles thought they got a piece of the block, but they didn't, and the ball lands long. St. Kate's trails by 2. It's 9-7. Reed crushes that one into the block. Almost a joust. Tebben hit it across. Pushed over by Reed this time. Now a chance for Ruers from the near side. That one may have hit off the basketball hoop. Harker with the free ball sent across to the Oles. Wall dumps it over on 2, and she saw a big opening in the middle of the St. Kate's court. The set or dump makes it 10-7. Wall has been named to the All-MIAC team in each of her first 2 seasons with St. Olaf. Parker, back set, right side for Leverance. And her attack down the middle pays off. Emily Jarnigan, the senior libero, couldn't pass that one correctly. St. Kate's back within 2. Marissa Gilbertson returns to the contest, replacing Harker. Wall sets that one down the pipe for Ruers. Now Nelson. That set was tight. She was able to push it across. Ruers from the right side now. Goes cross court for the kill. And that's the first kill of the evening for Lauren Ruers, the AVCA Honorable Mention All-American from last season. And she, like Lexi Wall, has been named to the All-MIAC team both of the last 2 seasons. Gilbertson, back set, right side for Nelson. And Nelson, out of every spot in the rotation, is proving to be really fantastic tonight. We talked about her game being so well-rounded. And in every facet, she has been solid. That serve results in an ace. The Wildcats back within 1 in our opening set. Nelson came in with 15 aces, a bit behind Cutts and Amaker, who are tops on the team. And Ruers smashes that one long. Well over the block, and we're tied up 11 apiece. St. Kate's trailed 7-2. So they're on a 9-4 run right now. Jarnigan with the serve reception. Bump set far side for Markser. Goes cross court, dug out by Amaker. Chance for Nelson from the back row. She takes something off with the roll shot. Ruers right side. Another dig by Nelson. And that one falls into the St. Kate's bench. Hopefully everyone's all right down there. Courtney Lemke and Todd Nelson had to hop out of their seats as a couple of Wildcats knocked over chairs on the bench. Great hustle by St. Kate's as they've worked their way back into this contest. Jarnigan serves. Amaker steps up for the serve reception. Cuts up the middle. Her attack was saved, and now here comes Markser. Nelson punches that one into the student section. Morgan Markser with that kill, a junior from Wayzata, who's seen an increased workload in each season that she's been with St. Olaf, averaging over 2 kills per set this year and hitting 157. Gilbertson over to Isaacson, rolls it into the block, softly tapped back, and now Ruers has an opportunity, but she hits that one into the netting. 13-12, St. Olaf by a point. Aaron Cutts serving. Jarnigan with the serve reception. Here's Lanham tapping it over. Almost a dunk. She has more height than anyone else out there this evening. Bump set for Markser, attacking from the 10-foot line. Stuffed at the net. Tebben had that block. Another chance here for Markser. Nelson with the dig this time, and here comes Lauren Isaacson. Isaacson crushes it down the line. Lauren is averaging over 2 kills per set. The sophomore from Faribault with a kill this time. Her first of the evening. We're all tied up in the opening set. Now Morgan Markser responds with her second kill. When St. Kate's called their timeout trailing 7-2, St. Olaf is hitting over 140. They're now hitting an even 0, while the Wildcats have increased their percentage to 160. Tapped over by Tebben, and she sees the gap to drop it down. Smart move by the junior to tie us up at 14 apiece. Gilbertson comes out, Abby Harker on. And serve reception almost botched in the back row. An attack for Brewers, dug by Nelson. Far side, it's Leverance going cross court. Now an overpass. Opportunity for the Wildcats. Isaacson got a piece of the block or the tape there. Lanham hits it back over. Pushed up by Nelson. Tapped across by Tebben. A long rally here, tied up at 14s. Markser now. She took a little something off that shot. Still got it over. Another chance for the Oles. Markser from the outside. An overdig. Here come the Oles again with Markser off the block. Amaker will bump set this one. Nelson down the pipe. Jarnigan with the save. Now Lanham with the tap to the left side. What a back and forth battle for that point, which is eventually secured by Caitlin Lanham, the 6'3" sophomore. And you can't teach size, that's for sure. That time she had the chance to flip that one right over the block and took advantage. Isaacson from the outside, and St. Kate's takes the point. Lexi Wall out to the 10-foot line to set it. And Summer Reed finds the back line with that stroke. An excellent swing from Reed, a junior from Spokane, Washington. You don't see many non-Midwesterners in this conference, but Reed has made her way from the Pacific Northwest to play MIAC volleyball. Isaacson leaping from behind the 10-foot line. An excellent attack from there. And now another chance for the Wildcats. Roll shot from Nelson. Wall will back set it. On the slide, it was Knupp. And St. Kate's called for the illegal block that time. 17-15. From the middle, that's Isaacson. Now Wall tees it up. Far side Reed, rejected at the net. She'll get another chance. This time she floats it over the block. Bump set for Isaacson, again working from the middle. Wall out to Reed. And that time it's off the block and down. (18-15), and that short run by St. Olaf, they've taken the last 3 points, forces Todd Nelson to call timeout. Another supporter of Wildcat Athletics this season is Terra Construction of Rogers, in business since 2007. Their continued success is built on the efforts of past and present employees. That's their greatest asset. Terra Construction makes an effort to engage all of their staff in the decision-making process, resulting in a foundation built on honesty, integrity, and trust. Well, a back-and-forth first set here. St. Olaf, at least for the majority of this opening set, has held a small to medium-sized lead. They jumped out to a 7-2 margin. St. Kate's then called timeout and closed that deficit, bringing it to an 11-11 tie. We were also knotted at 14-14 and 15-15. Since then, St. Olaf has taken 3 straight, so they lead 18-15 late in our first set. The Oles 1-2 in MIAC play, while St. Kate's is 0-3, still eyeing that first MIAC victory. Every MIAC contest that the Wildcats have played has been close at least. They've gone to 5 sets in every one of them. Harker tees it up for Nelson, and Nelson registers the kill. She's been the springboard for St. Kate's, getting them to a strong start in this one. Reed from the outside. Nelson with the dig. Leverance into the block, and it drops on the St. Kate's side. Lexi Wall ready to serve. Floats that one just across the 10-foot line. Cuts up the middle, and it's another rejection for St. Olaf. Nupp and Ruers on that block. Four-point advantage for the Oles. Harker back set right side. Leverance who punches it down. Leverance hustled into that swing. And it's a good thing that she got there as quickly as she did. Lauren Scarr returns, as does Marissa Gilbertson. Serve reception by Reed. A chance on the slide for Nupp. Couldn't get everything behind it, though. Nelson from the outside, and she tipped it into the tape. Not enough oomph on that attack from Nelson, and it's 21-17. Reed will serve. Almost 3 kills per set for the juniors so far this year. Gilbertson quickly over to Cuts, stuffed at the net. It's turning into a theme as this Ole squad gets their hands up really quickly. And that was Ruers firing from the near side and missing long. Wildcats back within 3. Nelson into the tape. And if you're going to battle with this St. Olaf team, you can't afford too many mistakes. That service error pushes the lead back to 22-18. Ole's up by 4. Almost an overpass on the serve reception. Cuts is able to power it to the near side. And the Wildcats and Oles keep trading points. This is where they could really use a run. Cuts leads the team in aces, and she serves long. Back-to-back service errors committed by the Wildcats. Amaker returns, replacing Cuts in the back row. Ruers put something extra on that one. Isaacson, cross court. Ruers will have to track it down, and here comes a free ball from Jarnigan. Gilbertson over to Tebben. Stuffed. Lanham on the block for St. Olaf. That one's a solo. And it's set point for St. Olaf. Amaker with a nice dig. Isaacson from the near side. And it's too late. The mistake committed by St. Kate's hands the first set to St. Olaf. They take it 25-19. As the Oles look to move to 19-3. That's a tremendous mark for a team that's not ranked in the top 25. They've gone 17-1 in non-conference play. And, of course, they're hitting the toughest part of their schedule by having to play actual MIAC opponents. 1-2 in their conference matches. They dropped games against St. Thomas and Gustavus. St. Thomas ranked number 19 in the country, and Gustavus received votes in the latest AVCA poll, just like St. Olaf did. The Oles did prove that they can play with some of the MIAC's best, though, as they beat Augsburg in 5 sets on Wednesday, and the Aggies are ranked number 11 in the country. Some stats from our opening set. 10 kills apiece. We were even in that regard. Actually, St. Kate's had 2 more than St. Olaf. The stats page just updated here, so we're getting these on the fly. The Wildcats hit 194 in that first set to Now it changed again. It's down to 98 for St. Olaf as their hitting percentage in the first set. So maybe we'll return to the stats page. It does say 25-19, suggesting that all the stats are in for our opening set, but maybe that's not the case. Let's take a peek at what else is happening in St. Kate's athletics this weekend and beyond. The cross-country squad was supposed to run today, but that got rained out due to the large volume of precipitation we've been receiving in the Twin Cities. The soccer team was also supposed to compete today against Augsburg University, but that match has been postponed to Monday, and they'll play 4 o'clock on Monday next week. Women's tennis in action at 1:30 against Carleton College this afternoon. Next week, on top of the soccer match, women's volleyball will be back in action too, taking on Carleton on Wednesday. That match on the road at 7 p.m. And we'll be right back here next Saturday, a week from today, as the volleyball team plays St. Thomas in what's sure to be an exciting matchup. The Tommies ranked number 19 in the country currently, as a trio of MIAC teams are in that latest AVCA poll. A look at the MIAC standings. St. Benedict and St. Thomas are both 3-0. Augsburg 3-1. Bethel, Gustavus, and Hamlin are all 2-1. Carleton, Concordia, St. Mary's, and St. Olaf are each 1-2. McAllister and St. Kate's are the only remaining winless teams. McAllister 0-4, St. Kate's 0-3, but you can be assured that the Wildcats will change that soon enough, as they've had to play tough competition themselves, given that many think that St. Ben's would be the best team in the conference. The Wildcats did drop their contest against Concordia in what was their MIAC opener. And then Gustavus, of course, is one of the better teams in the conference too, so that first MIAC win has to be around the corner soon. St. Olaf serves to start off our second set. Gilbertson, back set to the right side for Nelson, and she fires long. The Wildcats thought they got a piece of the block, and the down official at first signaled to the Wildcats' side, but they do hand the point to St. Olaf, so no touch there. This time Wall serves it too short. Nelson serving for the Wildcats. Jarnigan with the serve reception. Reed hitting it across from the outside, and now Isaacson going down the line. Jarnigan will bump set it for Ruers. She tries to go down the line and misses long. Let's see if the Wildcats can get in rhythm here to start off set number 2, trailing 1-0. Wall lobs it, and Ruers makes no mistake that time. The two-time All-MIAC honoree, who was also an honorable mention All-American last year with that kill to tie us at 2-2. Reed serves. Isaacson with the serve reception. Bump set from Amaker. Right back to Isaacson. And that one got tangled up in the hands of the Ole block and then fell to the court. Both Knupp and Ruers looking for the rejection that time. And the ball must have split their hands. 3-2 with Aaron Cutt serving. Jarnigan had to dive for the serve reception. That attack from Markser got into the block. She'll have another chance from the 10-foot line here. Cross court into the arms of Cutts. Tebben had to use the left to tap that one across. The Wildcats keep it off the floor at first, but eventually results in a St. Olaf point. A strong attack from the right side makes it 3-3. Jarnigan ready to serve. Nelson with that serve reception. Gilbertson over to Isaacson. Blows it off the block and out of play. Isaacson now has 4 kills. She came in hitting 161 with more than 2 kills per set. An overpass on the serve reception, but St. Olaf keeps it alive, and now they fall into the net. Or rather, it's 4 touches, excuse me. (5-3) Wildcats with Abby Harker serving. Harker with a laser down the near side. Marks her from the 10-foot line. Really well-placed shot. Got a piece of the tape. And that will be 4 touches for St. Kate's. St. Olaf took the first set 25-19. It was even at 11-11 and at 15-15, but then they pulled away. On the slide, it's Lanham. Free ball coming for the Oles. Another chance for Lanham. Crushing it off the block. Harker up to Tebben, and Tebben flips it down on the 10-foot line. Tebben has used that left hand multiple times tonight. Really just adjusting on the fly to make the play. Wall for Lanham. Wasn't able to leap for it. Amerker comes in to save it. And now a free ball for the Oles. Wall dumps it over on 2. She has excellent awareness, spotting the perfect opportunities for the setter dump. She doesn't average many kills at just 0.4 per set, but she's got a couple tonight now. Back set for Tebben. Free ball for the Wildcats. Leverance from the right side, and she pounds that one home. The cheers growing from the St. Kate's sideline. And the Purple Faithful that are in attendance tonight. Purple and pink, I should say, given that it's Dig Pink match here at the Butler Center for breast cancer awareness. Nelson from the outside. Wall bumps it up. Free ball from Jarnigan. Nelson cross court. That one hits off the basketball hoop. Jarnigan runs into some teammates in the bench, and it was too late to play that one. Todd Nelson clapping it up on the sideline, liking what he's seeing here in set 2, with the Wildcats trailing 1-0. Lanham up the middle, and St. Kate's had no shot at that one, but it was wide. St. Olaf thought they had taken the point. Lanham was ready to serve, but the point does go to St. Kate's. And now Amaker serves short into the tape. Jarnigan will exit, replaced by Maddie Knupp. And now Lanham will have the chance to serve. 6'3" sophomore from Minnetonka. That one almost overpassed, and then St. Kate's with an illegal hit to make it 9-7. Lanham shuffling over from the right side of the end line to the left side, and she'll serve from there this time. Nelson gets it across with the punch. Back set over to the right side, and Maddie Knupp turns it into a kill. Knupp is only a freshman from Woodbury who went to Eastridge High School. She captained the Raptors during her senior season, and she's averaging almost a kill per set this year. Leverance from the right side, blocked. Now Isaacson from the back row, off the tape and down. Sometimes it pays to be lucky. St. Kate's with a small advantage in set 2 after dropping the first set 25-19. Wall back set. That was Knupp on the slide. Here comes Lauren Scarr, the lefty. Did not get a piece of the block. So that's a St. Olaf point. St. Kate's is 10-7 this year. They started the season 7-1. But they've dropped 6 of their last 9, and they're trying to get back on track here in the month of October. Gilbertson over to Nelson on the right side. Now a chance for Summer Reed. Rolls it into Isaacson. Nelson has worked her way to the left side. Attacks from there. And that attack goes off the block and out of play. Lauren Ruers putting plenty of pace on that one. Tied up at 10-10 after back-to-back points for the Oles. Wall serves. Gilbertson goes over on 2. Deflected off of the hands of Knupp. This time Cutts gets a chance to attack from the middle. Back set right side for Ruers. Smashes it off the block. Lauren Scarr from the left side, and the lefty goes cross court. Summer Reed. That one hit the antenna. Yep, both officials saw it. And St. Kate's is back in control at 11-10. Wall lobs it for Reed. Another chance for Reed. That time she rolls it over the block. A pass into the net, then flicked over by Cutts. Reed cross court, dug out by Isaacson. Back row, this will be Nelson down the pipe. Wall with the dig. From the right side, Ruers goes cross court. And Ruers isn't necessarily an imposing presence at 5'8", but she just puts a really clean stroke on the volleyball. Nelson out to Isaacson. She attacks from the 10-foot line. Saved by Reed. Now a long free ball coming from Jarnigan. Cuts down the middle. And after some really persistent play by Erin Cutts, it seems she had been blocked numerous times at the net, or simply couldn't find the part of the court that she was targeting. This time, she's able to find that back corner. Nelson with the dig. Gilbertson to Tebben. Hammers it over. And St. Olaf was in the net. Two-point advantage for the Wildcats. Markser gathers and attacks. Now Tebben from the middle. Clobbers that one down. Erin Tebben with one of the better swings we've seen this afternoon. And it forces Emily Foster to call timeout for St. Olaf. 14-11, St. Kate's in command in set 2, but trailing 1-0. Tonight's broadcast is a production of TJ Broadcast Services. Our website is www.tjsportsonline.net. Comments, suggestions, and requests can be directed to wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. And we haven't mentioned that yet today. Wherever you are tuning in to Wildcat Volleyball, feel free to email us. Let us know where you're watching from. Any comments or suggestions, things you'd like us to cover, feel free to let us know at wildcatsbooth@gmail.com. You can also follow TJ Broadcast Services on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Jason Doro here with you on what is a drizzly Saturday afternoon in the Twin Cities, so we're glad to be within the friendly confines of the Butler Center. Joined here by our master controller, Glenn Thompson, doing the hard work on the production side for us. We're thrilled to bring you each and every home match for Wildcat Volleyball throughout this 2019 season. So far, the Butler Center has treated St. Kate's pretty well. They're 2-1 here. The only loss coming against St. Ben's, who is the number 7 team in the country, so you can hardly fault them for that. And now they're playing a pretty solid foe in St. Olaf. The Oles are 18-3, 3-2 in true road games this year. They're a perfect 11-0 in neutral site contests. 1-2 in the MIAC. Ready to resume play now. St. Kate's up by 3 in the second set. That one smashed into the block by Ruers. So far, St. Olaf has dominated play at the net. That time, St. Kate's gets the block. Lauren Isaacson gathers, hits it into the block and down. Sent back over by that wall up front. It was Nupp and Ruers combining on the block for the Oles. Gilbertson to Tebben. Now a bump set for Markser. Hit that one off the block. Isaacson rolls it cross court. Lanham weaved it between the back row but hit it long. Here comes Abby Harker to serve. Markser steps into it on the tip drill, and it turns into a St. Olaf point as the Wildcats couldn't handle it after it came down on their side. Ruer's ready to serve. She's been working on this jump serve all contest, and it's been paying off mostly for St. Olaf. That's a crafty play. Lexi Wall bumping it to the corner. Most players don't have the precision to pinpoint a spot like that with a bump and turn it into a point. The Oles within 2 again, and now Ruers serves into the net. Lauren Isaacson serving. Lem from the middle. Cuts that one to the near side for a kill. Second kill of the game for Lanham. She also has 2 attacking errors. 1 block on the afternoon. But she's got her hands on a handful of attacks. Nelson from the outside records a kill. Nelson contributing at every spot on the court, like she typically does. She has 9 kill, dig, double-doubles this season, coming off a 12-kill, 24-dig performance against Gustavus. Leverance down the line. Now Summer Reed from the 10-foot line. Stuffed by Leverance and Tebben. Free ball now for the Wildcats. Harker to Cuts, and Cuts gets the kill. St. Olaf and St. Kate's doing battle here at the Butler Center, and the Wildcats trying to tie us up at 1 set apiece. Back set for Leverance. Got a piece of the block. Now Lanham from the middle. Denied by Cuts. And the team's leader in blocks is fired up after that one. 20-15, St. Kate's in the second set. And Emily Foster calls timeout. Wildcat Athletics are proudly supported by ProTech Designs, Floors by Becker, McGough Construction, the DLR Group, and by Save-A-Tree. Wildcat supporters this season also include SVL, U.S. Bank, the Loeffler Companies, Cone U.S., Fury Motors, and Twin Cities Hardware. Emily Foster is in her 4th season as the head coach for St. Olaf, by the way. Came into this season with a really strong record and has only improved it. She's now 73-37 with the Oles, a winning percentage of .663. She's actually a University of St. Thomas grad and was a two-time MIAC Player of the Year back in 2009 and 2010. One of only 16 MIAC volleyball student athletes all time to be a 4-time all-conference selection. So she was a tremendous player back in her day, and now she's doing a terrific job coaching this program. She's led the Oles to back-to-back MIAC playoffs in the last 2 years. First time that they've made back-to-back MIAC postseason appearances since 2008 to 2010, when they went 3 years in a row. And they also won 20-plus games each of the last 2 seasons with a conference record of 14-8 over those 2 years. Ready to resume this second set. St. Kate's trailing 1-0, up 20-16 in the set after that service error. And Lanham gets ready to serve. Nelson with the serve reception. Cutts will use 2 hands to float it to the back. Saved by Jordan Mells there, and now she sends a free ball across. Leverance leaping from the near side, asking for a touch, but won't get it. The attack is long, and it's 20-17. Lanham with another laser off the arms of Isaacson, and it drops way behind the end line. Splashes of pink, purple, and black in the stands today at the Butler Center. And some Ole fans, probably from the Twin Cities and from Northfield, in attendance here this afternoon. Nelson attacks. Dug out by the Oles. Summer Reed gets to touch it again, this time flicking it to the back row. Nelson smashes that one into the block. And because St. Olaf was into the net, St. Kate's takes the point. It's 21-18. Brewers from the back row. Now Lauren Scarr with the left-handed punch. And the overdig turns into a St. Olaf point. Lauren Brewers diving and then digging it right back over the net. The Oles on a 4-1 run. Lauren Scarr from the left side with that big lefty swing. A cross-court kill for the freshman. Lauren Scarr, being a first-year player, has acclimated to the collegiate level, and she's getting more playing time as this season rolls along. Service error from Emma Nelson, and it's 22-20. Jordan Mells exits. Morgan marks her back into the game. And Summer Reed serving here. Gilbertson over to Isaacson. And that did not touch. A St. Olaf defender rising for the block. It simply hit into the net and fell back over. So that's 4 touches committed by St. Kate's. And this run from St. Olaf forces Todd Nelson to call timeout. It's a 6-2 run for the Oles following the timeout called by Emily Foster. So Nelson responds, wanting to regroup here late in set number 2. As Wildcat fans are well aware, Nelson in his third year as the head coach for St. Kate's. Last season they went 14-12 after a 9-16 campaign back in 2017, the first year for Nelson as head coach. And they started this year really hot, 7-1 to start the season. They were 8-3 as well, which was their best 11-game start since 2011. But they've lost 6 of their last 9 matches. And they want things to start clicking again here in October, one of the most critical parts of the season, as they play a lot of tough teams in the MIAC. Wildcats returning to the court, again with those pink bows and wraps in their hair for the Dig Pink match, part of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we appreciate everyone contributing to the effort in trying to end breast cancer. St. Olaf has made it a tight set. Gilbertson to cuts. Off the block, and that one drops on the St. Olaf court. That's a big kill for Aaron Cutts, who now has 6 in the match. And she serves now. Jarnigan passes for Wall, and now Markser attacks on the near side. St. Kate's with a chance. It's Tebben into the block, and it drops. Another block for the Oles. They have 5 this evening. Jarnigan serves. Gilbertson right back to Isaacson, and Isaacson blows it off the block and down. Set point for St. Kate's. Abby Harker ready to serve. Wall to Lanham. And she splits the block that time. The kill for Lanham brings St. Olaf back within a point. And the Oles need this one to stay alive in the second set. Here comes Lauren Ruers. She took something off her jump serve that time, playing it safe. Leverance with the tap across. Markser flips it into the block. Kept alive on the cover by Lanham. Ruers from the back row, and it's a cross-court kill. St. Olaf not done yet in set number 2. And Todd Nelson needs to call a timeout. A tough spot for St. Kate's, who led 20-15 earlier in this set. And that means the Oles are currently on a 9-4 run in this second set. You really can't afford to drop this one if you're the Wildcats. You'd fall behind 2-0 against a team that's 18-3. If you look at St. Olaf's schedule, they've played tough teams, mostly in conference, but a couple of stiffer opponents in the non-con too. Their only loss in non-conference play was against Claremont Mud Scripps, who at the time was ranked number 5 in the country. They fell in 4 sets back on August 31st against CMS. Well, there's some renewed life in that St. Olaf side. But the St. Kate's side looks energized too as they break the huddle at 24-24. A pivotal stretch here about to occur at the Butler Center with St. Olaf up 1-0. We're knotted at 24-24 in set 2. Harker Over to Leverance, tap back down by Lanham. She may have been able to let that one go and fall on the St. Kate's side. Now Lanham attacks, and she gets a cross-court kill. And here's the first set point for St. Olaf in set 2. Brewers has taken 3 straight points for the Oles. Isaacson. Here comes Markser. That one hit the antenna. Based on the deflection, it was pretty easy for the officials to notice that that one was off the antenna. So we're tied up at 25 each. And Larissa Kish will come in for Lauren Isaacson. Kish, a senior from Oakdale, Minnesota, 8 aces on the season. Markser attacks, dug out by Amaker. Nelson rolls it into Jarnigan. Lanham from the middle, and she dunks that one home. Lanham elevating and getting on top of the volleyball for that attack. Set point again for St. Olaf. Their second of this second set. Tebben with the tip. Over to Lexi Wall. So the Oles out of system. Harker will go to Leverance now. Rolls over the tape. Now Summer Reed. And she finishes off set number 2. The Oles pushed their advantage to 2-0 after St. Kate's was up 20-15 in that second set. What a rebound from St. Olaf. And they lead 2-0 here at the Butler Center. Wildcat supporters this season include Eckberg Lammers Attorneys at Law, Midwest Vending, Triple Tree, Dady and Gardner PA, Jimmy John's, and of course TJ Broadcast Services. And we'd also like to send a thank you to Athletic Director Eric Stacy and Sports Information Director Lindsay Madriga. Without their help, we have no shot at bringing you St. Kate's athletics, including volleyball and basketball, in the fashion that we do here on these airwaves. So St. Kate's had a late lead in that second set at 20-15, but they simply could not hold on to it. St. Olaf finishes that second set on a 12-5 run as Emily Foster worked out what issues their team had, and the Oles propelled themselves to a second set victory. They won the first one 25-19. The second one comes at a scoreline of 27-25. Well, this is a good chance here to check out what's upcoming in St. Kate's athletics, as well as what got postponed today. The cross-country team was supposed to compete, but that got canceled this morning due to all the rain in the Twin Cities. The soccer team was expected to play Augsburg today. That got postponed due to the precipitation, and they'll play Monday now at 4 p.m. The women's tennis team competing against Carleton today at 1:30. We, of course, have the match here this afternoon, and the next volleyball match will be next Wednesday at Carleton College, a match that St. Kate's surely hopes to win. Carleton is 1-2 in conference, but 5-11 overall. And if the Wildcats can't win today, they definitely want to turn that match into their first conference victory of the season. Our next broadcast will be a week from today as the Wildcats take on the University of St. Thomas That will also be a 3 p.m. first serve between the Tommies and Wildcats. A few other contests to note next week. The swimming team will be competing 6 p.m. next Friday. The soccer team takes on Hamlin next Saturday at 1 p.m. That is a road contest against the Pipers. A peek at the MIAC standings here. St. Benedict and St. Thomas are the only remaining undefeated teams in conference play at 3-0. Augsburg, Bethel, and Gustavus, as well as Hamlin, are all 2-1. Carleton, Concordia, St. Mary's, and St. Olaf are 1-2. McAllister and St. Kate's currently bringing up the rear. McAllister's 0-4, while the Wildcats are 0-3. Surely, though, Todd Nelson and the Wildcats don't expect to finish at the bottom of this conference. They're expecting to get some wins here in October and try to work their way into November. The top 6 teams will qualify for the MIAC playoffs, and St. Kate's has been in those playoffs before. They want to get back. Last year they were 9th of 12 in the MIAC, so they weren't quite able to reach the MIAC postseason, but this team has shown potential and the capability of getting there as they played toe-to-toe with St. Ben's. Took the number 7 team in the country to 5 sets. They played really tightly with Gustavus, competing in 5 sets against the Gusties this past Wednesday. And they also went to 5 sets against the Concordia Cobbers. So every MIAC match this year has been close. And, you flip a couple of points left or right back to the St. Kate's side, and maybe they're 3-0 in MIAC play as opposed to 0-3. The Wildcats returning to the court here, clad in white after some Dig Pink festivities. As we've mentioned throughout the broadcast, it is the Dig Pink match this Saturday afternoon as the Wildcat program and both sides really promote Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The third set is locked and loaded. Here we go, and it commences with an ace. Marissa Gilbertson catching the top of the tape, and then the ball falls onto the other side. Summer Reed with the first touch, and now Ruers with the third. It's a kill. She had 8 kills in the first 2 sets. Paving the way for St. Olaf. Summer Reed serves. Gilbertson hustles over to set it for Cutts, who hit it into the block. Now Nelson cross court. Just barely misfires. Looking for the sideline in front of us. And it's 2-1 Oles. Ruers is tops on the team so far with those 9 kills. Caitlin Lanham in second with 5, and then a trio of Oles have at least 3. That service error brings it to 2-2. On the St. Kate's side, 6 kills for Lauren Isaacson as well as 6 for Erin Cutts. Emma Nelson has 5, Erin Tebben with 4, then Brianna Leverance with 3. Markser, free ball sent across for St. Kate's, and Erin Cutts takes care of it. Cutts drilling that one down. And St. Kate's has started this third set with a small advantage. Now an ace for Emma Nelson. Nelson entered with 15 aces. And I believe she has 2 tonight now. That one's just wide on the near sideline. Nelson inches away from taking a third ace in this one. A chance for Lauren Isaacson. That one misses the line. It lands out of play off the hands of the Oles, resulting in a St. Kate's point. Good awareness by Isaacson, not playing it after crushing it into the block. Lexi Wall out to Markser. Off a couple of Wildcat paws. Now Isaacson, cross court, powers it through the teeth of the defense. The best start in an individual set that we've seen so far for St. Kate's. They fell behind 7-2 in the opening set before dropping at 25-19. And now Lauren Scarr gets a kill. Scarr, of course, operating from the right side. And she makes it 7-3. Markser into Emma Nelson, who overdigs it back to St. Olaf. Ruers attacks long. Nelson thought about throwing her hands up and playing it, but the instincts kicked in and said, let it go. And it's a 5-point margin for St. Kate's. And now some miscommunication on the serve reception. Emily Foster out of her chair to call timeout for the Oles. A super impressive start to set number 3 for your St. Kate's Wildcats. Everything seems to be working for them as they try to work their way back into this contest. They dropped the first 2 sets, 25-19 and 27-25. A reminder that tonight's broadcast is brought to you in part by Goodmanson Construction, Twin Cities Orthopedics, Universal Athletics, Northfield Lines, Collins Electric, and Terra Construction. Aaron Cutts serving out of the timeout. Puts some extra air under that one. Ruers attacks near side. Tebben into the block. And it drops on the St. Olaf side. The block didn't get up in time. The Wildcats lead by 7 in set number 3. Lexi Wall quickly to Lanham. She drills it into Gilbertson, who keeps it alive. Chance now for Markser. Rolls it down the middle, dug out by Nelson. Isaacson off the block. And it's 11-3. St. Kate's rolling here in the third set. Wall back set right side for Ruers. And finally the Wildcat run comes to an end. In the last set, St. Kate's led 20-15. It was hard to see them losing that edge. It's even tougher to envision this lead evaporating. 12-4. Wildcats in set 3. St. Kate's is hitting a much better percentage at 171 compared to 105 for the Oles. As Ruers attacks from behind the 10-foot line. And she got a piece. of the St. Kate's defense that time. Although the ball did land long, so it's a St. Olaf point. If we look down the stat sheet, though, the service errors have cost St. Kate's. They have 9 in this game. St. Olaf has just 3. Leverance into the block, and it's a solo stuff for Caitlin Lanham. Most of these statistical departments are even, though. 5 blocks aside. Digs are almost even. St. Kate's has a couple more aces than St. Olaf, but they have 6 more service errors. And there's a kill for the Oles as they try to scratch back in to our third set. St. Olaf leads 2-0. They took the first 25-19 and won the second 27-25. They are 18-3 this season, 1-2 in MIAC play with losses against Gustavus and St. Thomas. That one's off the basketball hoop. St. Kate's stays on top of it, though. Lanham on the slide. Amaker saves it. Mells with a great save on the St. Olaf side. And now Summer Reed gets a good swing off. Reed has 5 kills tonight. 2 digs as well. Mel's ready to serve. A junior from Minnetonka, and she serves into the net. A couple of different contributors here who call Minnetonka home. Both Caitlin Lanham and Jordan Mells. Mells 1 year older than Lanham. Reed. That one was a fastball. A full swing, turning into a St. Olaf kill. Lanham ready to serve. Straight to Isaacson. Amaker bump set over to Leverance. She had to backpedal and hit it into the net. An attacking error committed by the Wildcats, and Todd Nelson wants to stem these issues as quickly as possible. Even with St. Kate's up by 3 in the set, Nelson calls timeout. And as the Wildcats were trotting over the bench, he said, no, you have to run quickly. So they had to hustle out to the sideline and then sprint back to the bench before they regroup here. You can see it in Todd Nelson's face that he does not want to relinquish this third set after St. Kate's jumped out to a big lead at 11-3. Since they held that 11-3 edge, it's a 7-2 St. Olaf run. At 10-7, St. Kate's had a really strong start to this year. They were 7-1 at point. Even had a 6-match winning streak spanning from August 31st to September 13th. But once they got into MIAC play and started competing with some much better teams, they've started to hit treacherous waters. The Wildcats have lost 6 of 9. Today would be an opportunity to get a win against a really solid opponent. Nelson with that swing off the tape. Now Summer Reed into the block. Reed will get another chance. Floats that one over. Harker stepped in to dig it. Now Leverance into the block, and then it spills into the net. So that timeout from Todd Nelson leads to a Wildcat point. And we'll see if they have everything coordinated now. Wall to Maddie Nupp. And Nupp is rejected. Each team with 6 blocks to this point. Aaron Cutts, who was in on that one, now has 3. Reed gathers, fires down the line, and nabs a kill. Reed is up to 7 kills in this contest. Lexi Wall to serve. Right side, it's Leverance. Now Jarnigan has to set with St. Olaf out of system. The dig from Harker, but it gets away from Amaker. A good set from Jarnigan. Even with St. Olaf out of sorts after Lexi Wall had the first touch. Harker for Cutts. Lobs it over the block. Jarnigan with another bump set. Nelson has to step back to roll it across. Back set from Wall. Near side. Ruers hit it long. St. Olaf calling for the touch, and they're right. Wall continues to serve. Harker feeding Nelson on the outside. Here comes Ruers again. Plenty of topspin on it, but it didn't drop in time. It's too long. 16-13 after that attack error. Gilbertson replaces Harker, and she serves now. Wall bumps it up. A free ball coming from Mells. St. Kate's almost botched that last play, but they do get it across, and it won't matter because Summer Reed brings the hammer. Reed has been particularly strong in this third set. Mells exits, and Morgan Markser comes in the front row. Reed serving. Over to Nelson. Gilbertson right back to Nelson with the first and third touches, but she sends it long. Nelson has 18 digs tonight, 5 kills, 4 attacking errors. She's coming off a 12-kill, 24-dig performance, her 9th kill-dig double-double of the season. Wall out to Markser. Taps it over with the left hand. And we're tied up at 16 apiece. St. Kate's led 11-3 at one point in this third set. They trailed 2-0 here at the Butler Center. Cutts powers that one down. Cutts has 7 kills tonight, trailing only Lauren Isaacson in that department. Isaacson has 14 digs to boot, too, one of 3 different Wildcats in double digits. Wall over to Markser, just inside the 10-foot line. Now Emma Nelson from the back row down the pipe. Another great dig from St. Olaf. Hit across by Knupp. A chance for Isaacson into the block off the head of Cutts. Then hit over on a joust by Isaacson. Free ball for the Wildcats. Gilbertson to Cutts. Stuffed. A chance for Isaacson. Rolls it back to Jarnigan. Ruers floats it over the block. The Oles coming again with Ruers. Poking it to the back row where Emma Nelson saves it. Isaacson with the roll shot. Dug by Ruers. That was Wall actually with the dig. Ruers with the attack now. The longest rally we've seen all afternoon. And now Isaacson fires long. Incredible determination during that last point by both sides. We're even at 17 apiece. Gilbertson tried to dump it over on two, and then Wall overshoots Lanham. In the first set, maybe Lanham goes up and gets that one, but the stamina is probably dipping here in the third set for the 6'3" sophomore middle. And that ball will land out of play off the block. Brewers knew it as soon as she hit it. Tied up again at 18 apiece. Brewers with the jump serve. Amaker leaning for it and hitting it into the stands. Handling a serve like this one becomes really difficult when you're not able to hit it square with your platform. That time Nelson does a terrific job to shuffle over and play it. Gilbertson, back set for Nelson, attacking from the back row. Now a free ball that Tebben steps up to play. Isaacson attacks, blocked by Lanham. Lanham leads the team in blocks, and she comes up with a big one there. St. Olaf has come all the way back from down 11-3 in this set. It's a 17-7 run for the Oles, and it's forced Todd Nelson to call another timeout. Let's see if we can get a look in at what else is happening around the MIAC today. Concordia has defeated McAllister in straight sets. A couple of other matches started at 3 o'clock. Gustavus against Hamlin commenced at 3. And Gustavus is close to taking a two sets to one advantage. They dropped the first one 33-31 in a marathon of a first set. They took the second 25-23, and they lead 24-13 in the third. Augsburg and St. Ben's also started at 3. And let's see if we can get a peek at the score line there. Looks like St. Ben's has just completed the sweep against the Aggies. 25-18, 25-20, and 25-22. So all pretty close sets, but each one belonged to the Bennies. Later today at 5 o'clock, Carleton plays at St. Thomas. St. Mary's plays at Bethel. St. Olaf on a 17-7 run as we see both sides return to the court here at the Butler Center. The Oles lead 2-0. The jump serve from Brewers. Serve reception from Amaker. That goes right back over to the Oles. They send a free ball across, though, too. And now Aaron Tebben notches a kill. Seven kills for Tebben tonight. (20-19). Make it 20-20. Abby Harker serving, the freshman from Plymouth. She had 23 assists and 10 digs in the loss against Gustavus on Wednesday. Wall bump sets it for Markser into the block, and it'll trickle onto the court. Lanham and Markser couldn't get to it. 3 straight points for St. Kate's, and the tides have turned here. First touch by Langsley. Now Markser swinging. Nelson with the dig. Tebben cutting it to the right side, and she misses wide. She was trying to stroke it onto that far sideline, and Missed by inches. Jordan Mells ready to serve. To Isaacson. Back set for Leverance. Leverance clobbers it home. Isaacson will serve. An overpass coming back to the Wildcat side. Amaker bump set for Nelson. Drives that one off the block and out of play. A fantastic response from the Wildcats. After the timeout by Todd Nelson, trailing 20-18, they come out of that little break, and they came out with guns blazing. They've taken 5 of the last 6 points, and now they lead 23-21, just a couple points away from pushing us to a fourth set. And hey, why not? No one wants to go back out into the rain on what has been a dreary Saturday afternoon in the Twin Cities. It is, of course, Dig Pink match here at the Butler Center, as you can see the bows and ties in the hair of all the Wildcats here, as well as when you see the stands, all the pink shirts and other apparel that's sported by the fans in attendance on this Saturday afternoon as we raise awareness for breast cancer. A big thank you to everyone in the program who has promoted that cause and helped orchestrate today's Dig Pink match. St. Olaf leads 2-0. The Wildcats need 2 points here to stay alive and force a fourth set. Lauren Isaacson serving. Wall outside for Reed, and Reed hits it long. Everyone on St. Olaf thought it got a piece of the block, but the officials disagree. Maybe they were just trying to fool the referees. Set point for St. Kate's. Wall back sets it for Lanham, and Lanham fires to the back corner for the kill. Maddie Knupp returns. Emily Jarnigan exits. And now Caitlin Lanham will need to start a big run for St. Olaf. The second set point for St. Kate's. Parker ran over to the sideline and almost sprinted straight into the stands trying to track down that serve reception. But the ace for Lanham makes it 24-23. And after that mishandled serve reception, Todd Nelson will bring in Larissa Kish, substituting for Lauren Isaacson. And it's another ace. Amaker misplayed that one. We're tied at 24-24. A convenient time for the Oles to rack up a couple aces. Lanham hits it to Kish this time. Nelson from the outside. Mells will bump set it. Free ball from Reed. Harker to the right side for Leverance, and Leverance pummels it to the back corner. Another set point opportunity for St. Kate's. Wall out to Reed. Kish with the dig. Leverance right side. Blocked, and it falls on the St. Kate's court. $25 each in set number 3. The Oles lead 2-0. Wall serves. Took something off that time. And the Oles can't handle the attack from Cutts. Sometimes it seems like Aaron Cutts gets stronger as the game moves on. She dialed up something extra on that one. Wall hustles over. A swing from Ruers. It got a piece of the net. Nelson will swing from the 10-foot line. Jarnigan digs. Out to Reed on the outside. And Reed goes to the back corner for the kill. Morgan Markser comes back in, replacing Jordan Mells in the front row. Reed to serve. Lauren Scarr hit it into the block and then touched it back-to-back times. The double contact makes it 27-26. And here's the first match point of the night for St. Olaf. Todd Nelson will make another swap. This time he takes Kish out and puts Isaacson back in. Isaacson with the first touch. Cuts from the middle. Dug by Wall. The Oles out of system. It's Ruers down the middle with the roll shot. Nelson far side into the block. Scarr punches across. Now Wall to Ruers again. That one looked like it was off the block. They're saying no touch. The Oles just shaking their heads after what looked like match point in their favor. Instead, we're tied at 27-27. Nelson serves. Wall over to Markser. Goes cross court, and she finds the line. And now they're overruling the initial call, saying it was wide. St. Kate's has definitely had the benefit of the doubt on those last two calls. Wall tees it up. Flick to the back corner, saved by Nelson. Here's Isaacson swinging. Wall floats it for Markser. Into the block again. Jarnigan has to set this one. Ruers with a roll shot. Dug by Scarr. Back row, it's Nelson. And she rolls it down into the donut. 3 straight points for St. Kate's to close set number 3. And they take it 29-27. The Wildcats force a fourth set here at home. Well, I think there were multiple instances where St. Olaf felt jobbed during that final stretch, and they had a great case on what would have been match point. It looked like an attack went off the hands of a Wildcat and then out of play, which presumably would have given the Oles match point, but the officials definitely didn't see it because no one called for it. And then the Wildcats rattle off 3 consecutive points to win that third set. So they have a chance here to get their first MIAC win. They still have to win back-to-back sets and finish strong at the Butler Center if they are to do so. But they're playing their best volleyball at this point in the match. They fell behind in the first set 7-2 and dropped it 25-19. St. Olaf took the second set 27-25 before the Wildcats won that one 29-27. So we've played a lot of points tonight for 3 sets. I will grant you that a different MIAC match this afternoon, Gustavus and Hamlin, saw their first set go 33-31. So it's not the longest set by any stretch of the imagination. But we've seen some extra points here this afternoon. Let's peek at our game stats to this point. St. Kate's hitting 137, almost even with St. Olaf, who's at 127. Again, the service errors are in the favor of the Oles, 9-4. One number that Ton Nelson probably isn't too happy with. Otherwise, across the board, things are pretty clean for St. Kate's. The two sides almost even in digs at 68-66. 8 blocks for St. Olaf, 6 for St. Kate's. Just 3 handling errors for the Wildcats, 1 block error, hitting 137. Not marvelous, but you're holding St. Olaf to 127 in their attack percentage, so you're outplaying them in that facet of the game. It's just the service errors that have come back to bite St. Kate's this afternoon. Time for a fourth set. We'll see how long St. Kate's can keep this one going. A reminder that tonight's broadcast is brought to you in part by Goodmanson Construction, Twin Cities Orthopedics, Universal Athletics, Northfield Lines, Collins Electric, and Terra Construction. Jason Doro here with you. And a big thank you to Glenn Thompson for all his work on site here to bring you St. Kate's volleyball from the Butler Center. Aaron Cutts comes out swinging in our fourth set. Now Ruers with the roll shot. Diving in from the back row is Isaacson for the dig. Scar put the left hand on it and just barely missed the back line with that attack. Lexi Wall to serve. She has 27 assists through 3 sets. That's actually below her average. She averages 11 assists per set on the year, so 9% so far in this one. That one's crushed into the block and drops to the floor. Summer Reed with the kill. Wall had 36 assists in the straight sets victory against Northwestern for St. Olaf last night. That attack misfires down the line. 3-0 St. Olaf to start off the fourth. By the way, St. Kate's also swept Northwestern, a match which was here at the Butler Center earlier this season. Lauren Scar, left-handed swing, pushes it back up. Now Cutts with the little left-handed tap. And it falls between a bunch of different Oles. Nelson ready to serve. Reed going cross court, an over dig from Nelson, and then Ruers pounds it down. Ruers timed that one up perfectly, and a big smile on her face with the Oles up 4-1 in the fourth. You wonder if the Ole legs might be a little bit tired after playing last night down in Northfield, unlike St. Kate's, who is pretty fresh. Their last match was on Wednesday at Gustavus. Ruers with the big swing, and if stamina is an issue for some Oles, it's definitely not showing for Lauren Ruers. She brought everything she had on that last attack. Amaker with the serve reception. Near side, it's Scar. Now Jarnigan with St. Olaf out of system. Ruers on the attack, and she continues to pummel it down for the Oles. Ruers has 16 kills this afternoon. And with St. Olaf on a 6-1 run to start the fourth set, Ton Nelson calls timeout. Well, as a family-owned and operated business since 1971, Goodmanson Construction continues to develop concrete relationships with their commercial and residential customers throughout the upper Midwest. For questions or concerns about concrete, asphalt, and the company's installation process, visit their website at goodmansonconstruction.com. A proud sponsor of Wildcat Athletics since 1971, the Universal Athletic Team has been passionate about fueling the dreams of athletes, and they put all their know-how into doing just that. By servicing and selling athletic gear to your local athletes, high schools, and colleges, Universal Athletic has dedicated its heart and soul to the support of sports, fitness, and health programs in local schools and communities. And transporting Wildcat athletes is in the capable hands of Northfield Lines, Inc., dedicated to ensuring that your travel experience is a positive one. Call to request a quote or to make a reservation at 888-670-8068. Again, that's 888-670-8068. Or visit their website, northfieldlines.com. A dominant start to our fourth set from Lauren Ruers and the St. Olaf Oles. We pick things back up with Summer Reed serving. Gilbertson to Cuts. And Cuts just drills it down into the back row. That was a confident swing from the junior out of Osceola, Wisconsin. Lexi Wall back sets it, right side for Ruers, and she's got her 17th kill. There are three different players with double-digit kills tonight. Ruers has 17, Cuts has 11, and then Reed has 10. Isaacson gathers and swings. Jernigan with the dig. Near side, it's Markster into the block, and it falls out of play. 8-2 Wildcats, trailing in this fourth set. They have fallen behind 2-1. They dropped the first pair, 25-19 and 27-25. Wall out to Ruers again. Roll shot. Amaker dives for it and can't get to it. Plenty of reason for the St. Olaf fans to clap it up during this fourth set so far. Jernigan serves again. That one's short off the tape, and it results in an ace. The first ace of the afternoon for Jernigan and her 20th of the season. And the senior from Los Gatos, California, pauses briefly before serving this next one. They'll wipe up the court where a couple of Wildcats dove down to try to save that last serve. It's interesting that this St. Olaf team has several contributors who are not only from outside the state but from the West Coast. Jernigan's from Los Gatos, California. Summer Reed from Spokane, Washington. And Lauren Ruers is from Sierra Madre, California. Aaron Tebben ends the St. Olaf run with a kill there. It's 10-3. Tebben is up to 8 kills tonight. 4 total blocks. Amaker steps over and bump sets it. Free ball from Isaacson. Markster stepping into it. Over dig from Nelson. A chance for Lanham. Flicking it down. Smart play by Harker to come up and play it. Leverance on the tip now. Jernigan will bump set. Markster with the free ball. To the back corner where Nelson saves it. Isaacson from the outside. Set up for Lanham. She was denied by Tebben. Now Jernigan. Free ball back to the Wildcats. Harker up to Tebben. That one smashed down, but saved by the Oles. A big swing from Markster that gets through the block and down. Five kills today for Morgan Markster. Lauren Ruers with the jump serve. Nelson does a nice job on the serve reception, but then St. Kate's is called for a double contact. (12-3). One of the most impressive stretches we've seen from either side tonight, as St. Olaf is rolling in the fourth set. Harker decided to go on two that time. Marks her with the swing that hit off the block. Harker now to Nelson. From the middle in the back row, and she finds the donut. Isaacson preps to serve. That one's a laser just over the net. Lanham powers that one off the hands of Grace Amaker. Caitlin Lanham racks up quite a few kills from that middle blocker position. 3 per set for her on the season. She's hitting .350. The third best hitting percentage in the MIAC. That time it's Emma Nelson with a crisp shot. That was a play where everything was in sync. The set was right where it needed to be, and then Nelson hit it in front of the back row where no one could reach it. Amaker bump set for Leverance from the right side, off the block and down. Leverance with 7 kills today. And Amaker will serve. She has 14 digs on the afternoon. Serve reception comes right back to St. Kate's. Leverance from the right side again, and she sees a huge gaping hole in the back row. She pegs the ball right to that spot. Summer Reed off the block. Harker over to Nelson. Roll shot. Great save by Ruers. Now Nelson with a phenomenal save. Cross court goes Nelson, and she's got another kill. A couple of St. Kate's fans getting on their feet, cheering for the Wildcats as they muster a comeback in the fourth set. Amaker with another good swing on that serve. Lanham hits it off the block. Harker flicks it over on two to the back corner, saved by Jarnigan. Reed with the attack from the outside. Now Nelson cuts it cross court and gets the kill. Nelson quickly racking up kills in the fourth set. That's 10 for her this afternoon. And that last one forces Emily Foster to call timeout. St. Olaf did lead 12-3 in this set. It's a 6-1 run for the Wildcats before Emily Foster uses that last timeout. The Oles sit at 18-3 this year, just a couple wins away from making it 3 seasons in a row with 20-plus victories. They had 23 last year, the most since 2010, when the Oles went to an NCAA regional final. Despite those 23 wins, though, they were ousted in the MIAC quarterfinals by St. Thomas. Made it to the semifinals in 2017. And based on the talent that you can see on display on the court here today, they probably have aspirations of making a run at least to the semifinals, if not to the championship this year. They'll have to go through some tough opposition because there are 3 MIAC teams currently ranked. Back underway in set number 4, the Oles leading 2-1. Lexi Wall tried to go on 2, blocked by Nelson. And the Oles weren't suspecting that one. Lexi Wall up to Lanham, and Lanham swings it down. It's 14-10. If you look at Emma Nelson's game, by the way, it's really complete. We've talked about her having all the tools necessary on the volleyball court, but blocking is probably the one where she contributes the least, just 0.3 blocks per set. So that last one came at a critical time. And the kill here for the Wildcats draws them within 3. Lauren Scarr returns, so does Marissa Gilbertson. Leverance and Harker get a breather. Lexi Wall out to Summer Reed. Blows it off the block. And Gilbertson couldn't flick it back up into the air. So St. Olaf sides out with a 4-point lead in the fourth set. They also hold a 2-1 advantage after taking the first pair 25-19 and 27-25. Nelson tapped that one into the block. Gilbertson will set cuts this time. Now it's Ruers cross court. Lauren Ruers with 20 kills tonight. She averages 3 kills per set. Today she's averaging 5%. Punched over with the left hand by Cutts. Amaker has to step back to set it for Katie Hensley. And the former Ole gets a point for St. Kate's. That's the first time we've seen Katie Hensley today, the junior transfer who used to be on the Ole roster. She played in 11 sets over 8 matches last season. Her mom also attended St. Kate's, and after spending a while down in Northfield, she elected to transfer up here to St. Paul and play for St. Kate's, and here she is contributing in the fourth set. Ole's up 17-12. Isaacson hits that one into the block, and Isaacson stumbled down onto all fours after that attack. Simply hit it too low and into the block. Isaacson with the first touch. Gilbertson back sets for Hensley. She pummels it off the block. Now a swing from Morgan Markser that turns into a kill. The St. Olaf hitting percentage vaulting up here in the fourth set. It's now at 175 to 165 for St. Kate's. And at 19-12, something has to change in a hurry for the Wildcats. Todd Nelson calls timeout as they make a last-ditch run at this matchup with St. Olaf. Well, Twin Cities Orthopedics offers a full spectrum of orthopedic care to individuals suffering sports-related problems and injuries. Their doctors are team physicians to St. Catherine University, Augsburg University, Hamline University, and others. Visit tcomn.com. And Collins Electric, a contracting firm that is experienced, progressive, responsive, competitive, safe, and on schedule. Qualities that translate into excellence and trust. Trademarks that have carried their reputation since 1928. Collins Electrical Company aspires to continually improve in all aspects of their business. Closing in on a 2-hour match here at the Butler Center, almost 5 o'clock. First serve was back at 3. And a quick scoreboard check outside the MIAC. Your Minnesota Twins in Game 2 of the ALDS trail 1-0 against the Yankees in the top of the third. Minnesota Golden Gopher football, though, leads 30-10, playing Illinois at TCF Bank Stadium. That game is midway through the third quarter. St. Olaf leads 2-1, and they have a 19-12 advantage in this fourth set. An overpass on the serve reception leads to 4 touches committed by St. Kate's. The Oles led 12-3 early on in this set. St. Kate's closed the gap. They got within at least 3 or 4 points. St. Olaf has pushed it back out to 8. Now it's just a 7-point margin after the kill from Aaron Cutts. Cutts has a dozen kills tonight. Down the middle for Jarnigan. Bump set for Markser. Over the block and punched into the stands by Cutts. And Cutts will exit the game now with Amaker coming back in the back row. Isaacson from the outside. St. Olaf can't play it. Bumped up at the net and it kind of rolled through the netting before going out of play. Harker ready to serve at 21-14. Chased down by Wall after the serve reception. Free ball from Jarnigan. Tebben with the tap, got it over the block, but saved by Markser. Royers with the attack. And she fires it long. Back-to-back points for the Wildcats. And then the service error ends their short run. 10 service errors for the Wildcats this evening. That's been their Achilles heel. Rewers serving. Isaacson with a big swing into the block, right back onto the St. Kate's side. Isaacson again, flicking it to the corner for Rewers. Now Lanham. Lanham closing in on double-digit kills. She has 9. The Oles can smell victory now. Brewers with the jump serve. Well played by Amaker. Leverance from the middle, denied there. Lanham with the block. St. Olaf had a set point and a match point at that in the third set. They couldn't finish it off there. Here's their first match point in set 4. Brewers serves into the net. They still hold a 24-16 advantage. So Lauren Isaacson needs to rattle off 8 points in a row here. Jarnigan with the first touch. Markser near side. Cross court to Amaker. Punched up by Nelson, and that will do it. St. Kate's puts up a fight. After falling behind 2-0, they win the third 29-27. St. Olaf closes strong in the fourth, taking that set 25-16, and the Oles win 3-1, improving their record to 19-3 on the season. They're 2-2 in MIAC play. St. Kate's will drop to 10-8 on the year. They remain winless so far in the MIAC at 0-4, but they've played all tough teams between St. Ben's, St. Olaf, the game against Gustavus on Wednesday. The Wildcats have played some really tough teams, and this is the first time that they've had a MIAC game not go to 5 sets. This one finishes in 4, unlike the others. A peek at some of our final stats as we wrap things up from the Butler Center. St. Kate's hits 147 today, while St. Olaf hit 181. Maybe the one part that Todd Nelson won't like when he checks the stat sheet. The service errors, 10 committed by the Wildcats today, 5 by St. Olaf. Digs were pretty even, 11 blocks for St. Olaf too, though. That number leapt up in the final couple sets as St. Kate's finished with 7 blocks. Then your individual stats for this match. Lauren Ruers led everyone with 21 kills. She hit 261 too. It wasn't just volume, it was accuracy from the senior outside. She finishes this contest with 15 digs and then 5 blocks as well. Summer Reed had 11 kills. Caitlin Lanham recorded 9 kills as well as 4 digs, 3 aces in this match. 41 assists from Lexi Wall, just over 10%. She averages 11% on the season. That's third best in all of Division III. 17 digs for Wall, too. She put up numbers this afternoon. Emily Jernigan, solid at the libero position. She had 21 digs on the day. On the St. Kate's side, your final stats, 12 kills for Erin Cutts to lead the way, 11 for Emma Nelson, 10 for Lauren Isaacson. They were the only ones in double digits. Brianna Leverance, though, had 9 kills. Tebben had 8. And then Lauren Scarr had 3. Cutts hit a fantastic percentage, too, at .379 today. Brianna Leverance wasn't half bad at 174 as well, and Tebben at 182. 25 assists for Marissa Gilbertson this afternoon, 18 for Abby Harker as the 2 freshman setters fed a variety of hitters in this match against St. Olaf. Emma Nelson with a really quality contest, both offensively and defensively. We've mentioned the 11 kills. She had 30 digs tonight, too. Almost 8%. As that number continues to catapult larger and larger. 30 digs for Nelson in this contest. Lauren Isaacson had 21. That's a double-double for her as well. And Grace Amaker had 15 digs to boot. Again, St. Kate's drops this one in 4 sets. They fall to 10-8. They're now 0-4 in MIAC play and an even 2-2 at home. St. Olaf improves to 19-3, 2-2 in the conference. We'll see if we can get some final scores here from across the MIAC. We mentioned earlier that Concordia swept McAllister. St. Ben's also swept Augsburg. And Gustavus won in 4 sets against Hamlin. St. Mary's is playing at Bethel. That match just started at 5 o'clock. And Carleton also started at 5 against St. Thomas. Thank you again for joining us for this match between St. Olaf and St. Kate's on what was Dig Pink afternoon, as both programs made an effort to promote breast cancer awareness here during the month of October. That'll do it for us, though. From the Butler Center, a big thank you to Glenn Thompson, as always, for his work here on site to bring you the best looks at the action between the Wildcats and Oles. Signing off from St. Paul, I am Jason Doro. The Wildcats give St. Olaf a run for their money, but in the end they drop in 4 sets. And the Wildcats now 10-8 on the season. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place as the Wildcats take on St. Thomas.